Hello, my darlings. Happy Tuesday. I hope this finds you well, excited, rested, and all that good stuff. So, yeah, Miss Blaine is not batting very well this week for getting videos to you. And so, we're going to do this one, and I'm going to actually turn around and do tomorrow so that you won't have to wait on me. But let's go over and make sure you've done everything you need to do, and then Miss Blaine will let you go. Remember your letter land for this week. We are dealing with two sounds, two spellings of words. We're dealing first with both of them deal with plurals, and they're making plurals. At the bottom, we have our irregular plurals. The words we looked at last week, we have 1 foot, we have 2 feet, we have 1 tooth, we have 2 teeth. At the top, we have the words we are turning into plurals that have an F as their final sound. And when firefighter Fred is at the end of that word, we change the F to a V and add ES. These are your 12 words for this week. Now, inside of your bag, you had your fluency sheet for this week. I believe it's red. Please make sure you're studying your instant words and you can say it and be ready for Friday. And be sure you're practicing your phrases so that you'll be ready to read them on Friday. Remember, this Friday will be Set C, your last column. Today is only Tuesday, but it's never too early to start practicing on our fluency story. This week, of course, our story is a letter. Make sure you have read it and you're ready to read it into Seesaw on Friday. And also remember that your questions are to be answered down at the bottom on Friday. This week, you have your ladder for today. It says fancy footwear. Ms. Bland has shared 2 of the answers with you. Make sure you find the other 3. Our vocabulary work for this week deals with food. We talked about eating, the ways we eat, tasting, biting, chewing, chomping, devouring, the difference in being able to just barely taste it on my tongue to just eating it all as fast as I can. So you have 5 sentences. You are going to make sure that you take the time to find the answer and the best word that fits in that sentence. I will do 1 and 3. The rest will be on you. Number 1, Trevor had to carefully blank the meat before he swallowed. Before you swallow anything, you should always chew. That's right, it's chew. Let's see. And number 3, Ella's mom was cooking a new dish. So Ellie walked over to blanket. Taste. Exactly. So make sure you get an answer for 2, 4, and 5 as well. This week for Reading Wonders, we're talking about what do heroes do. This is a picture of some heroes, and so is this one. But yesterday we talked about heroes can be whoever you want them to be. As long as they are doing something that's helping, serving, or benefiting someone else, they can be your hero. This week's story is a biography, which means it's a story that tells the true life of a person, but that person didn't write it, someone else did. We're going to work to summarize what we read and be able to tell someone else. And we want to do it in a sequence. We want to say first this happened, next this happened, then this happened, last this happened. Sorry. The author's purpose is the main reason the author writes the story. We talked in weeks past about PIE, persuade, inform, entertain. Stories are written for one of those 3 reasons. What do you think this story was written for? Persuade, entertain, inform, entertain. Synonyms, of course, are words that have almost the same meaning. We talked about those yesterday. And today we're going to talk about some possessive pronouns. Is a word that takes the place of a possessive noun. So both a possessive noun and a possessive pronoun show who or what owns something. Jessie's drawings were creative. Her drawings were creative. We replaced the possessive pronoun with a possessive noun with the possessive pronoun. Excuse me. This week we have 8 new vocabulary words: agree, challenging, discover, heroes, interest, perform, study, and succeed. If you've already completed your vocabulary activity for today, it is fine. No worries, no worries. If you have not and we're waiting on my video, then please use the word interest and challenging. Sorry, guys, I'm blaming you. Cesar Chavez is, of course, our story for this week, and Cesar is doing something amazing. He decided that those people were not being treated fairly and that those farm workers deserved better. And he worked and striked and went and spoke and gave speeches and let everybody know that they were working these long, crazy hours, but they weren't being paid for what they were doing. And he made ways for them to have their situations and working conditions improved. So make sure you take the time to read Cesar Chavez. After you've read both, all 4 pages, make sure you complete the text evidence questions that are associated with today's story. Possessive pronouns. A possessive pronoun is one that shows ownership. Here are some great examples of possessive pronouns: my, your, her, his, its, our, and their. You have a page in your packet that looks like this. It tells us to write the underlined word or words and then write the possessive pronoun that could replace them. We're going to do the first 4 together. Grandma's chocolate chip cookies are chewy and tasty. On my first box, I would put grandma's. Grandma's goes here because it's underlined. And for each one, the word that's underlined, you will include. Now, what can I replace grandma's with? We know grandma is a girl, so we think of the word her. Very good. Her chocolate chip cookies were chewy and tasty. The word is her. Number 2, I saw Justin and Emily's car parked by the tree. So first box would be Justin and Emily. And what can I replace Justin and Emily with? I saw their. Very good. I saw their car parked by a tree. Number 3, the nurse prepared Nathan's medicine. What can I replace Nathan with? Well, first box, of course, you'll write Nathan. What can I replace Nathan with? The nurse prepared his medicine. Very good. She prepared his medicine. I don't know, my mouse is not working. His. I don't know what happened. Lexi picked up U pencil after it fell off the table. U, so very good, your. Lexi picks up your pencil. Very nice, awesome job. All right, I want you to pause here and complete 5, 6, 7, and 8. Once you have finished 5, 6, 7, and 8, hit play so that after you finish 5, 6, 7, and 8, please hit play so that you can move to 9, 10, 11, and 12. 6, 7, and 8. Once you hit play, it will take you to 9, 10, 11, and 12. Please put what is underlined in your first box and then conclude it with what the possessive pronoun would be. Your sprint for today is a 2-minute. Make sure you complete those 2 minutes. Do the ones you can. Skip to the ones you do know to get more of a count. Eureka Math today, we are focusing on measurement. We are talking about the difference in using a meter stick, which is long, versus using your centimeter ruler, which happens to be a little shorter. So when you look at the first box, that's all we're focusing on page 65, is I want you to measure some things. We chose in class to measure a pencil, a reading book, and a computer. Then one thing was the kid's own choice. You will get the choice of measuring whatever you want. Measure your TV remote, measure your Fire Stick remote, measure a pencil you're using, measure the notebook, measure the desk you might be sitting at, whatever it is you want to do. You tell me the object's name and then tell me how many centimeters long it is. Now, the ruler that I sent home will not measure your refrigerator. So don't try that. All right, on this side, next page, it says circle centimeters or meter to show the measurement you would use to measure the length of the object. Now, think about what I told you, centimeter, meter stick. If I was going to measure a train, would I want that ruler that you're holding in your hand? Probably not. I would want to use meters. If I was going to measure an envelope, would I want centimeters or meters? Centimeters would be okay, it's an envelope. If I was going to measure the length of my house, what do you think I'd use? Exactly, I'd use meters. The question says, would it take more meters or more centimeters to measure the length of the playground? Tell me your answer and explain. On the next side, you are going to circle meters or centimeters to show which would use to measure that object. Markers, school buses, laptop computer, highlighters, football field. Remember, meters, long yardstick type look. Centimeters, those small lines on your personal ruler. And then fill in the bottom with either cm, saying that you would measure it with centimeters, or an m to say that you would measure it with meters. All right, we're going to use centimeters to find the length. Use the ruler that you have. Make sure you measure each of the shapes. And you do not have to do question B. Your math review, make sure you practice it, try it, and then come back and check your answers against mine. The answer for number 9 is above it. It just didn't have any room below it. For number 7, you only had to show one way. Ms. Bland just showed 3 ways to give you options. Be sure you understand where each of these answers came from. If you do not, please share it with me so that we can sit down and figure out where you are missing. And of course, our last thing for today is we're talking about solids. Solids are one of the forms of matter. Yesterday, we introduced to matter. We said matter had 3 forms: solid, liquid, and gas. Today, we start off by talking about the solids. You will read the passage and find out what a solid is, what it looks like, and even some examples of solids. And then for your boxes on the second half of the page, you're going to draw pictures of solids and write facts about the states of matter, something that you learned from yesterday or today that you may or may not have known, but you'll fill in your squares with that information. So it was a pretty simple day. I hope you guys get a chance to finish up everything. If you have questions after you have reviewed the video, just call and let me know. We'll sit down, we'll Zoom together, we'll figure out what you're missing. And if we can't figure it out, no one can. So I hope you guys have a great afternoon and a great evening. And Ms. Bland will see you with Wednesday's video, probably really soon. I think I'm going to make it when I finish this. Have a great afternoon. Love you guys. Stay safe. See ya Monday.